For a duck stock, you need some pieces of duck. I buy my ducks whole, and then I debone them, remove the breast and the legs. Then I split up the carcass and with pieces approximately this size. It makes them brown fast, and it gives off more taste. And after about half an hour, they look like this. And after that half hour, I turn them over and loosen them so they can brown on either side. There's a lot of water in it, or stock actually. I pour that away because that keeps the temperature low and it will take longer to brown. And when they're completely done browning, ironically I have to add water again to get up all the brown good stuff in the bottom that has a lot of flavor. Then I add the brown parts up into the stock pot. Well, it's not a stock pot, but that's its function today. And I lose all the small gritty bits to get off all the flavors and the color. And up into the stock with that too. Now we need to add some vegetables, and I use about just the same amount of vegetables as I have carcass. And the carcass you saw before, that was from 2 ducks. That makes for a bit of stock. I cut them into approximately 1 centimeter thick slices. That'll make them cook at the same time, and it's suitable for a stock. If they are too thin, you risk them boiling out and becoming a mush. I just cut off the ends and any dark spots there might be, and I leave the peel and the onion. That gives a lot of color. 1 layer of vegetables in the bottom of your roasting pan, that's good. And after about an hour, they look like this. They're well browned, but don't brown too much. If it becomes black, it becomes bitter. And so I add the herbs so I can keep them down with the vegetables. That way they won't float at the top. Well, and then I have cheated. I actually have a bit more duck carcass from 2 additional ducks. This gives me another. You can also use some chicken if you want a bit more flavor. And this now gives me the problem that it can't fit into my stock pot anymore. Usually it should be all covered in water. And it shouldn't boil this much, but actually I forgot to watch it. Sorry. This is more like it. I put it down firmly into the pot, cover it as well as possible. With duck pieces like this, it's not terribly important that it's all in the underwater, because after a few hours it'll loosen up and it will fall below the waterline. And then we'll have to separate the fats from the stock, and I have a fat separator like this. It's a very practical instrument. It's also important to use a sieve because there's a lot of nasty gritty little bits. And the fat I save for later. Never throw away duck fat. And all the grit you see here in the bottom of the sieve, that's exactly the reason why it should be sieved. If you don't have a fat separator like I do, the easiest way is to actually just cool down the stock. You'll have a jelly in the bottom and fat in the top. You can just scrape off the fat. That's very easy too. And there would have been more if I hadn't used the fat separator. And it's just to use it. So enjoy. And you can find the list of ingredients and the recipe on Kvalifood.